behalf of my staff and my board, welcome to this really wonderful and important ceremony. I'd like to acknowledge our elected officials that are here. We have District 7 City Councilor Kim Jady. Where's Kim? And Kim, if you could come up front, that would be great. Kim was here 2 seconds ago, so she must be touring already. And we also have State Representative Byron Rushing. There he is, Byron. All right. Oh, City Councilor Asabi George. Nice to see you. All right. We're also joined by Boston Planning and Development Agency Brian Golden, and Chief of Housing for the City of Boston, Sheila Dillon. And unfortunately, we learned late yesterday that the mayor is unable to make it to today's event. But today is a great day for the City of Boston, a great day for the Roxbury community. We're celebrating new mixed-income housing, a second phase of this Parcel 10 development. 3 years ago, we were all gathered here celebrating the grand opening of the Tropical Foods Market. That day really marked a transformation in this community. That land has sat vacant for decades because of this urban renewal process here in this community, and that was the first development on that site. This is the second, and the third is an office building sort of behind me at the corner of Melniacas Boulevard and Washington Street is a third site where we plan to build an office building. So hopefully we're announcing something later this year. The Tropical Foods, as you know, is a family-owned business started over 50 years ago by Ron Gary Sr. His sons now, Randy and Ron Jr. now operate that community-driven business. It provides a high-quality neighborhood supermarket, and they're employing 135 people, mostly local residents. Across the street, you'll see under construction Urbanica is building a new Marriott Residence Inn and also rental housing, and that will come online later this year. So really lots of exciting things happening at this gateway to Dudley Square. Madison Park has had a long history of being an anchor institution in Lower Roxbury for over 50 years. We're proud of our community organizing roots. We know that Roxbury really is a great place to live, to work, to raise a family, and to shop. We're building and maintaining quality, affordable housing is a major part of what we do. We take a real holistic approach to community development. We're offering arts and cultural programming at Hibernian Hall, civic engagement through the Roxbury Coalition, violence prevention in partnership with the City of Boston's Trauma Initiative. Over 65 youth have after-school or summer jobs through our youth development, youth leadership, workforce development programs. At another building that we own in Dudley Square, 2101 Washington, Best Hospitality Training and Building Pathways, our ground floor tenants. They're doing job training and economic development for residents here in the community, helping them find employment opportunities. Also in that building, we did a ribbon cutting about 2 weeks ago with Daily Table, and they are an affordable supermarket, small grocery store. That's also, that program, along with all of our health and wellness initiatives, are addressing health disparities and providing quality access to quality, affordable foods. So we've been really active here in commercial development for over 20 years. And you wonder, so why does the CDC do in commercial development? Well, we have over 3,000 residents on sort of either side of Dudley Square and all around this neighborhood. So the success of the business district really is critical to all of us. The opening of this new mixed-income housing took a lot of hard work. It's something we can all be proud of. It's a great example of public and private partnership. The project couldn't have happened without the support of our government leaders, our financial partners that you'll hear from today. The development team deserves a lot of recognition for its hard work. Our engineers and architects had to deal with a number of structural challenges of this old historic building. It was actually 3 separate buildings they learned along the way, and literally they rebuilt that front facade brick by brick. and doing all of this in a historically significant way and adding this building to the National Register of Historic Places, sort of complementing the very historic Dudley Historic District. Across the street, you might know, is a colonial cemetery where colonial governors are buried. So this is all very important that we kind of preserve the historic character and richness of this community. I want to thank the Roxbury Strategic Master Plan Oversight Committee and our Parcel 10 Project Review Committee for their hard work over the years and support for the project. The Community Monitoring Committee worked with us to ensure that construction jobs and economic benefits of the project were shared with local residents, workers, and women of color. We want to give special thanks to our neighbors, both the business community and our residential community, who dealt with all the noise, the traffic, the dust issues that construction brings. We're proud to say that this project has some of the best jobs numbers in the city. We exceeded the goal for minority jobs with 64% of the construction work going to people of color. 43% to Boston residents and 5% to women. In terms of contracts, 38% of the construction contracts went to minority-owned businesses and 19% to women-owned businesses, the largest being a contract with Terra Construction. Let me tell you a little bit about the building. So on floors 2 through 4, you'll find 30 apartments, a mix of studio, 1 and 2 and 3 bedroom units. We have a little bit of everything in this building. 9 of the units are unrestricted market rate units, and they're all occupied. 6 units have Boston Housing Authority vouchers associated with them, so residents pay 30% of their income. And the rest of 15 or so is a mix of affordable units. We had about 1,500 applicants for those affordable units. This is truly a mixed income building and the first of its kind developed by Madison Park. On the ground floor where we are today is 3 commercial spaces, and we're pleased to announce that one of the tenants will be the Clubhouse Network. They're a global nonprofit serving thousands of youth around the world. They're opening their flagship clubhouse here. It's a free after-school program for teens to express themselves creatively through technology and STEM, or rather STEAM when you add the A in there, for arts. They will offer clubhouse to career programs to prepare and connect our talented youth with the jobs of tomorrow. So if you have questions, several of the members of their staff are here. I know their executive director, Gail Breslow, is here. There you go. So talk to them about their new exciting new location here. The next phase, as I mentioned, this is a 3-phase development, is that development at the corner of Washington and Melnia. Our leasing agents at Hunneman are marketing that office space, and we hope to announce something later this year. So let me introduce our next speaker, Brian Golden. We're honored to have Boston Planning and Development Director Brian Golden with us today. Our work with the BPDA on this project includes the disposition of public land, permits and approvals for all the combined uses here, funding from the city's inclusionary development program. I see Dana Whiteside and some of his colleagues here who played a big role in this project. So without further ado, please join me thanking his staff and welcoming Director Brian Golden.
Thank you, Jean, and thank you all for visiting this morning. It's a great pleasure for us to be playing a role in the ceremony today. We thank Jean Pinata, we thank the Madison Park Development Corporation. We thank, in a very special way, State Representative Byron Rushing, who in the 2013-2014 timeframe was helping us so cooperatively, so constructively assemble the pieces from a legal and a bureaucratic and a financing standpoint to make sure that the fruit we see born today came into being. So thanks so much, Representative Rushing, for all you did a few years ago when we began to assemble the complicated pieces that allowed this to become a reality. Thanks again to City Councilor Anissa Sadi-George, and I think we were just joined by State Senator Sonia Chang Diaz up in the front row, so thanks so much for being here, Senator, and for all you do. Thanks to City Councilor Kim Janey, brand new, but we're spending an awful lot of time with her. She's hitting the ground running, and we certainly look forward to working with her on issues of significant planning and development concern to her Roxbury district, her Roxbury South End district. Thank you to financing partners, Eastern Bank, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Mass Development, Redstone Equity Partners, TD Bank, and again, all the staff at the Boston Planning and Development Agency who spent many years putting this project together. Again, Dana Whiteside, who is just such a key player in the neighborhood and at City Hall. We thank you for your effort, Dana. This is so exciting for us because this is a Boston Planning and Development Agency parcel. It's been dormant for many decades, and it is a thrill for us to see it now host so much life. There's so much vitality here. Now housing the tropical food supermarket, soon to be commercial space right here where we're sitting. There is vibrancy being produced on this site that was only dreamed of up until a few years ago. So thanks for all who played a role in making this, again, a reality. We're excited now to open 30 brand new homes here in Lower Roxbury. 9 Williams is helping us achieve our housing goals. Mayor Marty Walsh has set an ambitious goal for creation of housing with a special eye toward creating affordable housing. We're building more high-quality, affordable units across the city. We're also celebrating the creation of, again, 7,000 square feet of commercial space here on the ground. It's going to bring even more vibrancy into a community that is growing by leaps and bounds. 9 Williams is the second phase of Parcel 10. We celebrated the opening of the first phase, the new home of Tropical Foods, just a few years ago. And just a couple weeks ago, as Jean mentioned, we opened Daily Table just down the street. The residents living here in this building will now have access to nutritious and affordable produce and groceries right in their immediate vicinity. The city of Boston is continuing to make investing in Dudley Square and Lower Roxbury a priority. $9 million will be spent here over the next few years on road improvements in the Dudley Main District. There'll be a multi-year Melnia Cass redesign, complete streets, and $73 million going towards a Dearborn STEM Academy, $14.2 million going to a Dudley Branch Library, and much more to come. So this is an exciting day for Lower Roxbury and for the new residents who will call this great community and this building home. On behalf of Mayor Walsh, again, we look forward to seeing this community to continue to grow and thrive. Thank you again to all of our partners for making this all possible.
Thank you, Brian. Our next speaker is representing all of our state funders and state agencies involved in the project. We're fortunate to have a number of state agencies and economic development agencies that understand the important work that CDCs do in our neighborhoods, shown a willingness to work creatively with us on projects like 9 Williams. We took advantage of several state funding programs. We used a $1.1 million brownfields grant from Mass Development to clean up the site. The site benefited from a $1.5 million MassWorks grant that helped build the site work, the shared parking, new curb cuts on Washington, Williams, Melnia Cass Boulevard. Mass Development issued a $9.5 million tax-exempt bond on behalf of the project. And Mass Housing has the permanent mortgage on the project. So lots of state agencies working together to make this all happen. They've all been terrific partners. Mass Development has done several projects with Madison Park, and they're a terrific partner. So please welcome to the podium from Mass Development, Dave Bancroft, Senior Vice President.
Well, thank you, Jean, and thank you to our partners with the city and our other financing partners from Eastern Bank and Redstone Equities partners. I also want to thank Senator Jane Diaz and Councilor George and Representative Rushing and the new Councilor Janey. Mass Development, and on behalf of the CEO of Mass Development, our new CEO, Lauren Liss, who is Ann J. Ash, who is the Secretary of Housing and Economic Development, I also extend a warm welcome to all of you. They actually would love to be here today, but they are actually back at the offices. Today is our board meeting, and they will be approving more financing options for projects just like this. What I would love to say is that what a difference 5 years makes. It was actually July 19th, 2013. The temperature was 99 degrees. And right out there, we had a groundbreaking for what would be the new sort of tropical foods supermarket, which would then open this space up to turn it into housing. So 5 years ago, it was 99 degrees. Today, it is 26 and feels like 14. They were out there with the salt and removing the ice from the sidewalks here. But I think what it goes to show is the transformation that dedicated staffs and organizations and city agencies working together can change a neighborhood and change the lives of the people who live in those neighborhoods. And that's what Mass Development is committed to, and that's what the city is committed to, and that's what some of our other partners are committed to, as well as Madison Park, who we have worked with for over 20 years, building all kinds of projects like this. But the credit then goes to the people in the neighborhood who push for that. And so you really need to also give yourselves a lot of applause, because if it wasn't for your vision and your ability to sort of push organizations and push the administrations to say that we need this, we need places for people to live, we need places for people to work, we are a city that is on the move, we are a city that is transforming itself, we are a neighborhood that is transforming itself, but we want to be able to retain what makes this neighborhood Dudley Square and what makes this neighborhood home to so many people who were born and raised here. And that's what Mass Development is committed to through our transformative redevelopment programs and through our brownfields programs and through our various funding sources that we offer people like Madison Park, as well as some of the other CDCs in the city. It's the ability to come in here, look at neighborhoods, and help people make their dreams and their reality of being able to stay in those neighborhoods a success. So I get to come up here and sort of say some nice words about what we did and how much money we put in, but it really is up to you folks to sort of let us know what it is that you want. So on behalf of the Baker-Polito administration, on behalf of Secretary Ash, on behalf of our chairman, Lauren Liss, we congratulate you, Madison Park, and the neighbors and the residents of this neighborhood, because Dudley Square has come a long way in the 15 to 20 years that we have been involved with it. From everything we've done with Madison Park in terms of Dudley Greenville, or the Highland Homes, or what's going on up at the old Bartlett Station, which is part of the neighborhood, the old Ferdinand's building, what's going on across the street at the new Marriott, Tropical Foods being able to sustain itself and build itself a new facility for the neighbors to shop in. This is what it's all about. Transformation is not a top-down, high, heavy way of telling a neighborhood or people what it is to do. It's a way of the people on the ground telling us what it is that we need to do. So once again, I would like to thank Madison Park for its vision, its partnership. I want to thank all of our other partners, our state and city partners, and congratulations to each and every one of you who call this home, and to looking forward to working with you on your next project. Thanks.
Thank you, David. So this all started many, many years ago when we teamed together with the folks at Tropical Foods and responded to a request for proposal from the Boston Redevelopment Authority back then to respond to this Parcel 10 development. So I really want to acknowledge Ron Gary Sr. and Ron Gary Jr. who are in the back. Ron Gary Jr. did all the heavy lifting, but your dad was here 50 years ago. So Give them a round of applause. Our next speaker is Jan Miller from Eastern Bank. Eastern Bank is a great community partner and certainly no stranger to Dudley Square. The bank has financed several Madison Park properties, residential and commercial, over the past 15 years. Eastern Bank purchased the bond issued by Mass Development. Eastern Bank is a major philanthropic partner as well to Madison Park and many other nonprofits in the Boston area. So please welcome and join me in welcoming Jan Miller, Vice Chairman and Chief Commercial Banking Officer.
Thank you, Jean. Eastern's relationship with Madison Park goes back more than a decade. As Jean just mentioned, we've been fortunate to partner with Massachusetts' largest and one of the nation's oldest CDCs to assist in the revitalization and redevelopment of the Roxbury community. So we're really happy to be involved and happy to be here. Today, really pleased to be part of this latest project, providing the commercial space and 30 units of much needed housing, mixed income housing in the Madison Tropical Parcel 10 area. Community development lending is part of Eastern's DNA. It makes up a significant portion of our commercial loan portfolio. We don't do it to earn CRA credits. We do it, frankly, we don't even think about CRA when we're looking at projects. We do it because it's the right thing to do in our communities. And by the way, it's also really good business, particularly when working with quality people like Jean and the staff at Madison Park. I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the folks in our shop that really did all the work. I get the privilege of going to groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings, but the rest of the folks in the shop are the ones that really do all the heavy lifting. Penny Billington Hunt, who's a relationship manager on the account, is here. Penny's right over there. She's the primary person responsible, but the leaders of our group are Gary Leach and Pam Feingold, names that I think are familiar to a bunch of you folks in the room. But Jean, thank you very much for allowing us to be part of this, and congratulations on a great project.
Thank you, Jan. The financing of the building also involved, as you can tell, federal and state historic tax credits, and we get equity from selling those credits to investors, and low-income housing tax credit equity. Excuse me. Redstone Equity Partners is a nationally recognized real estate fund manager specializing in affordable housing. This is Madison Park's second project with Redstone. They're a terrific partner. Please join me in welcoming Drew Foster, Director of Acquisitions.
Thank you, Jean, and good morning, everybody. As Jean mentioned, my name is Drew Foster with Redstone Equity Partners. We, along with our investor partner, TD Bank Community Capital Group, very proud to have invested just over $6.5 million in the purchase of federal low-income housing tax credits and federal historic tax credits to assist in transforming this neighborhood landmark into 30 beautiful apartments that hopefully most of you will have a chance to see shortly. I first stepped into this building about 3 years ago to this day and thought, wow, what potential there was here. I was with another member of my team, and I vividly remember working our way up to the top floor and realizing, oh dear, are we sure we want to be doing this? For those of you who did not have the privilege to see the penthouse level in all its glory prior to demolition, let's just say that blue tarps hanging from skylights, draining off into trash cans at each corner, is not the cornerstone of an ideal rainwater collection system. Fast forward a year to my first visit during construction, and upon entering, I was immediately struck by how bright it was inside. And I quickly realized it's because there was no roof. Trying to be positive, I'm thinking, progress? Fast forward again to today, and well, you know, the wow is here. I never could have imagined such an incredible transformation. I want to congratulate Madison Park, Kaplan Construction on a phenomenal job with an incredibly challenging building, structurally, many other ways. We were actively involved throughout the construction progress, and you guys were top-notch, so great job, Kaplan. 9 William Street is a real testament to our mission of investing in communities in which we live and work, and is a shining example of what can be accomplished when the public and private sectors work together to achieve a unified goal. Today, it's ever so important with the lack of resources we have to work with to continue to find strong partners and to show what can be done when we put our minds together. So congratulations to the rest of the team again, and thank you for the opportunity to be involved in such a fantastic project.
I'm sure Drew was giving Russ Tanner, recollections of his nightmares throughout construction. Before I introduce our elected officials, some of the elected officials that are here today, I want to acknowledge Joyce Stanley because she makes everything happen here in Dudley Square. So our next speaker is our Boston City Councilor, Kim Janey. She represents District 7. She's a lifelong Roxbury resident and a citywide leader that brings strong economic development background to her job as city councilor. She's new on the job, but as you heard, has hit the ground running. I ran into her actually on several occasions knocking on doors at Madison Park Village, so I think she knocked on every door in Madison Park in Orchard. She's been a strong advocate for local businesses, and she understands how important projects like this are for the neighborhood and for the city. She's the first woman to be representing District 7, so please give her a warm welcome. City Councilor Kim Janey.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jean. Thank you so much for your leadership. I think it's also important to acknowledge your amazing staff that is here in the room. Thank you for the work that you do. My name is Kim Janey, and I am proud to serve and represent Roxbury, the neighborhood that I love, the neighborhood that I grew up in. District 7 also includes South End, Dorchester, and Fenway. Before I go any further, I'd like to acknowledge the electeds in the room. I'm joined by my colleague and sister in service, Councilor Anissa Asabi-George. We have here also Representative Byron Rushing and Senator Sonia Chang Diaz, who is my senator. Please give them a round of applause. I'm also joined here by my mom, who I just saw in the corner of my eye. So thank you, Mommy, for all that you have done. My mother also lives in Roxbury. As Jean mentioned, I grew up in this neighborhood and so proud to serve and to be here today. Also want to give a shout out to all the community leaders. Some of them have been mentioned already, so I won't repeat that, and the residents that are here. It is so important that when projects like this are happening, that it is the vision of the people who live in our community that are putting their ideas out there, and that we are listening as electeds, as developers, as people who are doing this work. I also want to congratulate you on your numbers. So I'm proud to convene a group that does monitoring for the construction jobs, and it's important that we do a much better job at making sure that our people are being put to work. This building that we are in was once an award-winning carriage factory. It will contain now 21 affordable and 9 market-rate rental homes. Adding to the affordable housing available in Roxbury is so critical in allowing us to stay as residents, so I commend you on that. Thank you. As chair of the Small Business and Consumer Affairs Committee on the Boston City Council, I'm glad that this space will also be home to 7,000 square feet of revamped commercial space. It looks beautiful. I remember when the old Tropical was here. This is a very nice building. Very pleased that we still have Tropical in our community. I'm hopeful that this will be an opportunity for new and innovative businesses to create the desperately needed jobs that we need here in our community. I am also chair of the Arts and Culture and Special Events Committee, and I vice chair the Education Committee. So I am especially thrilled that one of the tenants will be a nonprofit that is committed to both education and the arts. The Clubhouse Network is a Boston-based nonprofit organization that provides a range of arts and technology learning for youth and young adults out there for out-of-school time. This is an excellent opportunity to engage our young people and keep them off the streets and get them involved in STEM and STEAM programming for after school. As a young person growing up in this neighborhood, I remember the stores that were here, the businesses that were here, and how vibrant our community was back then. And right now we're in a transition period. And we all see the challenges that are out here, but I also see the opportunities. And so I'm grateful that you have stepped up and that you are part of this renaissance. And just want to end by saying again how important it is to make sure that all of our voices are being heard so that we have development that we want to see in our community, that we have development that doesn't displace residents. And so I applaud you for the work that you're doing, and I encourage all of us to stay engaged in this very important process. Thank you so much.
I see we were joined by Candace Seeley, who represents United States Congressman Capuano. So Candace, welcome. Our next speaker is Senator Sonia Chang Diaz. Sonia is the first Latina to be elected to Mass State Senator. She's in her 4th term, serving the 2nd Suffolk District. She's a terrific friend and partner, been to many of these events with us. Sonia, please come up and please give her a warm welcome.
Good morning, or almost afternoon. I think we're still morning, right? Good morning, everyone. As Jean said, I'm Sonia Chang Diaz, very proud to represent Roxbury and the surrounding area in the State Senate. And I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm going to talk and run because I'm just getting texts that they're starting to call my amendments on the Senate floor right now to a bond bill that we're taking up today. So, got to go get more money into the district. But I just, I'm thrilled to be here to say thank you to Jean, to your incredible staff. I'm so glad that Councilor Janey said that. You guys do incredible work laboring the vineyards every day. To all of the fiscal partners, the design partners. I'm reminded of the Cornell West line about justice is what love looks like in public. And this is an example of that to me, particularly at a time when there's so much slashing going on at the federal level of the resources that make projects like this possible. And we forget so often what it is that our tax dollars actually go to pay for. And this isn't all public money, but there's a fair bit of public money involved in these projects. And so I just want to remind everybody that it's your and my and your neighbor's tax dollars that make projects like this possible. And that's what we do. That's what we do when we send in a little bit of our hard-earned dollars to the public pot, is we are making possible justice, and that's what love looks like in public. This is love for our neighbors, love for our community, that we're going to be able to keep people in this community who have worked hard to make it great over the years. They're going to live in a place where they can get on transportation to get to work, where they can get access to healthy food, where they can go around the corner and avail themselves of arts and support local businesses down the street at Black Market. This is what love looks like in public, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, Sonia, for wearing my advocate hat. We're really thrilled that you're getting that bond bill passed. So we've been working on that all year. We pass a housing bond bill every 5 years in the state, and over $1 billion bond bill. And I think we're the envy of many states around the country because of the amount of resources that this state puts into housing programs. Our next speaker is a longtime historian of Roxbury, someone who probably loves Roxbury and its history more than anybody that I know. He was an organizer in the early days of Lower Roxbury Community Corporation, so he's sort of one of our own. So please welcome State Representative Byron Rushing.
Thank you very much. It is always a pleasure to come and celebrate with Madison Park. And as Jean said, that I first started working here in the 1960s. I was a community organizer for the first several years of my work life in the city of Boston. And when we walked through this neighborhood, it was incredibly depressing. This was Lower Roxbury was a neighborhood that the city decided to do cheap urban renewal on. And that is that they didn't spend any money and waited for all the buildings to eventually be abandoned or burned down and never replaced them. It is hard to imagine a city administration like the one that existed here, that I think existed here in the 60s. So when we went door to door, most people actually had given up on whether they would be able to stay in this neighborhood. And what they talked about the most was how dirty it was. How the fact that we had a park, there was a Madison Park. It was a big square park like Blackstone or Franklin. And they complained about the fact that suburbanites would drive into Boston to work and swing by here and dump their trash. Does anyone remember that? Right? I just divided the room by age. And they do that because they didn't want to pay their dumping fees in their towns. And because of that, of course, other people saw it, like contractors saw it was an okay place to dump in. And I'm dwelling on this because I think it is so important that we understand what progress means in this community and what black people can do when they organize. So we decided to make an example of all that trash by piling it all up one night. There I did. Okay, you're a retired judge now. You can admit that you were there. And we piled it up one night. We told everybody as an example, so people could see what it was like, and decided to burn it. We let everybody know we were going to do it. In those days, that's what we did as organizers, and we set it on fire. The fire department was there, the fire was out in 5 minutes, but fortunately, a group of young people decided to pull the hose from the firemen, and they were all men. And to pull the hose from all of these white firemen. When we were doing this, you could count the black firemen in this city on one hand. And the photographers from the newspapers took the picture of all these young people being hosed down by the firemen to keep them away from the fire. And it was on the front page the next day in the newspaper. And that organizing embarrassed the city to clean up the park. The most important thing about that was that a few residents came to us organizers and realized that we were serious, and they believed that there was a way to save this neighborhood. One of them was Ralph Smith. And I can remember Ralph coming up to me and he said, "I want to work with somebody as crazy as you are." And that was the beginning, along with Alex Rodriguez and Val Hyman, who were the other organizers working at the time in Lower Roxbury, that eventually became one of the first, what we were able to organize, one of the first CDCs in the United States. It's called Lower Roxbury Community Corporation, and now known as Madison Park. Now, I say all of that because I want everyone here to understand how important community organizing is. None of this real stuff happens if you think people do it from the top down. If it was up to the top down, there would be no Negroes here. Understand that. Understand that. They would not be here. And it was the organizing that got Madison Park developed, which also was the organizing that allowed you to have any land outside this window that you could build on, because the other major organizing that happened from the bottom up was stopping I-95. Never forget that. If you were sitting in this building when the top-down transportation planners in this state had their way, you would be looking at a highway. You would be looking at a highway literally 5 feet away from this window. And that was the highway that was to connect the I-95 to the Southeast Expressway, called the Inner Belt. And they had bought the land. Everybody said, you can't stop it. They've bought the land. They've torn down the buildings. And people like Chuck Turner and Gloria Fox organized this community to stop it, worked with people in other parts of the region, and they stopped it. And that's why we have what we have. We need more organizations in our community, like Madison Park, to connect to that philosophy, that the answers are bottom up. That means a lot more work. It is a lot easier to talk to these three guys than to talk to thousands of people. If you don't talk to those thousands of people, you will not be here 10 years from now.
Inspiring. So let me recognize in closing, let me recognize the project team, Kaplan Construction, DHK Architects, Adam Kaplan, who is our owner's representative, Wozy Barber and Associates, Goldman Environmental, Lonnie Daniels and Associates, Apple Rex, who did our historic preservation approvals, and Wynn Residential, our property manager. Give them all a round of applause. Let me thank my staff and our project team, Russ Tanner. Can you guys raise your hand, Russ Tanner? I'm going to get all my staff to stand up. Russ Tanner, Vice President of Real Estate, Lauren Scheffner, Katrina Conrad, Wendy Carter, they're all project managers. Where are they? And then Angel Harris, Yvette Jordan, Ola Akinwumi, Assad Hardwick. You guys raise your hand. They all worked on this. Dwayne, Wendy. All right, everybody raise your hand if you work for Madison Park. Some of them are your tour guides for seeing the apartments upstairs. And so we're all done with, if I can get the elected officials and the funders to join me, we'll cut a ribbon. And then all of you are invited to tour the building and share some refreshments. So thank you all for being here today.
How we doing? We're doing great. Nice.